Call to order of the City of Boynton Beach City Commission meeting today, Tuesday, June 1st, 2021 at 5:30 p.m. John, would you please provide us with an introduction?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Grant. Hello and welcome. My name is John McNally, and I will assist the mayor and the elected officials with the GoToWebinar portion of today's meeting. Before we start, I'd like to review a few housekeeping items so those virtual audience members know how to participate. Your microphones have been muted to reduce background noise. There will be specific times during this meeting when audience members can participate. The first way is by typing your question into the questions section at the bottom of the GoToWebinar interface. Those items will be read into the record by a meeting organizer at the appropriate time. The second way is by clicking on the raise hand icon indicating that you wish to speak. A meeting organizer will announce the next speaker at the appropriate time and unmute their audio, at which time you should state your name and address for the record. Please minimize any sources of background noise and speak clearly into your microphone during your allotted time. I will now turn control over to Mayor Stephen Grant, who will be presiding over today's meeting.
Thank you, John. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Stephen B. Grant.
Present.
Vice Mayor Woodrow Hay. Commissioner Justin Katz.
Here.
Commissioner Christina Romulus. Commissioner Ty Penserga.
Present.
Mayor, we have a quorum.
Thank you. Would I ask everyone to please rise for an invocation by Pastor Dwayne Roberts of Calvary Chapel, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you, Mayor, for the opportunity. Let's all bow our heads. First of all, God, I just thank you for the day today. I thank you for yesterday and remembering our fallen soldiers. And I pray for today, just for this meeting. I pray for our mayor. I pray for our various levels of city officials and for the assembled council. I'm asking for wisdom. I'm asking for a sense of welfare and true needs of our people in Boynton Beach, confidence for what is fitting and good, the ability to work together in harmony, personal peace in their lives. And I pray before the agenda that is set today, God, give them assurance of what they are called to do and what they are responsible for our great city of Boynton Beach. And I pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. So the very exciting swearing in Vice Mayor Woodrow L. Hay.
Okay, please raise your right hand. I, please state your name,
I, Woodrow Hay,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear and affirm
that I will support, protect, and defend
that I will support, protect, and defend
the Constitution and government
the Constitution and government
of the United States,
of the United States,
the state of Florida,
state of Florida,
and the city of Boynton Beach,
and the city of Boynton Beach,
that I am duly qualified to hold office
that I am duly qualified to hold office
under the Constitution and laws
under the Constitution and laws
of the state and the city of Boynton Beach,
of the state and the city of Boynton Beach,
and that I will well and faithfully perform
and that I will well and faithfully perform
the duties of Vice Mayor
the duties of Vice Mayor
of the city of Boynton Beach,
of
Florida.
the city of Boynton Beach, Florida.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
Congratulations, Vice Mayor. And thank you, Commissioner Penserga, for your service as Vice Mayor. Moving on to agenda approval. Any additions, deletions, or corrections to the agenda?
Mayor,
Yes.
I have an item that was added. It is 11A. I'd like to ask that we move it to a future commission meeting. The BDB has an event coming up, I believe it's June 10th, and it's precisely about the topic that I'm interested in having a discussion on. It's about how do we capture some of these businesses that are moving from other parts of the country to South Florida. And so I would like to go to that event first and bring those lessons to this meeting.
Excellent. Okay. Is there anything else added or deleted? Seeing none, may I have a motion to approve as amended?
Second.
I have a first and a second. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Our next item is information items from the City Commission. Commissioner Katz, would you like to begin?
Nothing to disclose at this time. Thank you.
Commissioner Romulus?
Nothing to disclose at this time, Mayor. Thank you.
Commissioner Pensurga?
Yes, we do have an item on Town Square. I'd like to disclose again that I've had conversations with Bradley Miller, Jack Weir and his associates, and Mark and Kelly Heffron of E2L.
Thank you. As for myself, on May 19th, I attended the YMCA's inspirational breakfast. On May 20th, I attended the Transportation Planning Agency. And at that meeting, I removed from the Transportation Improvement Plan the new interchange on I-95 and Boynton Beach, because our current TIP includes a shared use path east of 95 all the way from 95 along Boynton Beach Boulevard to Federal. And I'd like FDOT to make sure that that shared use path is on the interchange as well, so that people, students, seniors that are traveling to our downtown on bike are not going to have to be share the road with 40-mile-per-hour vehicles. This past year, there's been alarming information that even though there was less cars on the road, there have been more fatalities for pedestrian and bicyclists. And so with our complete street policy that we have, I feel that it's important that FDOT follows through with this and making sure that our streets are as safe as possible. There's going to be a planned meeting with the Transportation Planning Agency's director and our staff to discuss with FDOT what is the most economic and most safe for our residents here in Boynton Beach. That afternoon, I went to South Tech Academy for the Greater Boynton Beach Sister Cities organization. We had a bunch of winners from South Tech Academy that we're going to be entering into the international contest. Just a reminder, 4 years ago, we had a winner from South Tech. So I'm excited to see some of the great work that they are doing. And that afternoon, I attended Gulfstream Village with a Boynton Beach address on the ocean. So that was nice to attend. I met with Brian Fitzpatrick, a property owner here in Boynton Beach. On the 24th, I attended the General Employees Public Pension for the city. And at that time, at the end of March, our advisor stated that we were fully funded for our general employees, which is very good to hear. That afternoon, I attended a meeting with the Solar Co-op. So I invite anybody who is thinking about getting solar panels to look at the city's Solar Co-op. And that evening, I had a meeting with Healthier Boynton Beach, where we had Dr. Alonzo, the CEO of Genesis Health, and myself talk about the post-COVID and what is the best things that we can do for our community. On the 26th, I attended the League of Cities, and I want to congratulate our city manager, Lori Laveria, who is now on the board of directors. I also attended the Transportation Disadvantaged Local Coordinating Board. On the 27th, I gave a tour to Nancy Stewart, who ran the Affairs of the Arts, and she is very excited about bringing new events to Boynton Beach as soon as we can get the pricing. So I'm looking forward to look at that information. On the 28th, I took my daughter to the flag placement to make sure that all of our veterans at Memorial Cemetery have a flag. On the 29th, I went to JC Park for community greening that is planting 85 trees, which is an amazing number. This Saturday, June 5th, we have some more plant-based events with Barton Park starting at 9 o'clock, and I believe the Boynton Beach Garden Club at 11 o'clock will be handing out free plants. In addition, our partnership with the Justin Bartlett Animal Care Center meant 155 vaccinated pets are now in the city of Boynton Beach. On May 30th, I attended the Memorial Day service. On May 31st, on Memorial Day, I attended the Forgotten Soldier Outreach Service. And today I had a meeting with Faith in Florida. And I also had a conversation with Jack Weir. And that is it for me. Moving on to announcements, we have Matt Forrest. I did? Vice Mayor.
As the mayor, but I did have the opportunity to attend the Memorial Day celebration.
Excuse me, Mayor Grant.
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hay, you might need to turn your microphone on.
Thank you, John.
Try that again. Okay. On April 30th, I did attend along with the mayor the Memorial Day celebration. Had an opportunity to talk with a lot of our veterans. Many of them are in their 90s and still very active, which was very encouraging. I'd also like to say that those of you who are not aware of the massacre of Black Wall Street, it's all over the television network now. It's important that we know our history. It's important that we all realize that there was an injustice done, and the only way to correct that is to be knowledgeable about it. Hundreds of people were killed in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in 1921, and I like the heritage in Greenwood. They have a little slogan that they say, and I think it's very fitting. They stated that for without heritage, there could be no history. And without a history, there would be no hope. And I think we all need to recognize what is and what happened and try to do better as we both go down the road together. And so I just want to encourage you to, I say look at it because it was not included in the history book. I never read about it. I never heard about it. But since then, I've been doing my research, and I found out there are several places across our country where similar things took place. So that's in the past. We've come a long way, but we got a long way to go. So let's just all work together for the betterment of these United States. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other informational items by members of the City Commission? Seeing none, we will move on to Matt Forrest of Ballard Partners to provide a post-session legislative update.
Good afternoon. Matt Forrest with Ballard Partners. I represent the city of Boynton Beach, and it's a pleasure to be back. If you don't mind, I'm going to drop my mask a little bit. Otherwise, my glasses fog up. And it makes it a little hard to read what I'm going to report to you guys. It's a pleasure to be back. The legislative session was long this year. Committee week started in January, concluded on April 30th. So just 4 weeks ago, things concluded in Tallahassee. And then, of course, you may have read there was a special session on gaming, which called the legislature back, including myself. And so that concluded just 2 weeks ago on June 19th. So now things are officially done in Tallahassee for a very limited time. The governor still has some pending action regarding a lot of different bills that have not officially been sent to him for his approval yet. And most importantly, the budget has not been sent to the governor yet, which does include some items for the city of Boynton Beach, which I'll get to in a second. So as much as the legislative process is wrapped up, there's still a lot of activity going on in the governor's office. And most importantly, as I'll get to at the very end, the next session is right around the corner already. So as much as this is an update, that's really more of a halftime speech, I think. It's really more of, here's what happened in the first half, and let's gear up and have an active summer so we're ready to hit the ground in the fall. Going into this session, obviously, as you just read in the front page of the Palm Beach Post today, there was no shortage of preemption bills and discussions up at Tallahassee. I'll go into a few of the details on those. At the same time, I'll tell you, this is not the best setting for a deep dive into legislation. I would derail your meeting and we would be here talking about the nuances of bills throughout the night. I'll touch on a few high points if you want, maybe spark some ideas or thoughts. I would encourage you to look at the somewhat extensive, about 25 pages or so of a staff report that I provided to the city. If you want kind of a deeper dive into that, and then an even deeper dive, contact me. I'm more than happy to sit with you and talk one-on-one about the actual specifics of each piece of bills. There were 3,140 bills filed for consideration this past session up in Tallahassee. From that, 275 passed. That's a grand total. That's major legislation like HB1 to any resolution, that simply says we support, Mother's Day or something like that. So it's a grand total, really only of about 8.7% of all the legislation that gets filed made it across both chambers' desks and will eventually get to the governor. I would think it's important to remember that stat because legislation is going to start to get filed again now over the summer and into the fall for next year. While it's important to always take note of the legislation filed, again, just remember only 8.7% of all the things that get filed made it across the desk this year. So keep that perspective in mind. There were obviously some major legislation regarding home-based business and impact fees bill that were filed that could impact how you do things here in Boynton Beach. I'd recommend your city take a deeper dive into those from a city staff standpoint so they know exactly how to update your ordinances and regulations. Also, most notably, some other major legislation that would have impacted you did not pass. Vacation rental bill, which has been around now for many, many years, failed to pass again this year, and I'm sure it'll be back again for consideration next year. In regards to actually drawing money down and bringing some funds directly back to the city of Boynton Beach, I'm happy to say that there were 1,060 requests filed in the House, 2,123 filed in the Senate, $1.3 billion of projects requested by members, and we were lucky to grab a little toehold for Boynton Beach. We filed 2 requests while working with your staff. We worked on a project for the heart of Boynton Beach for a stormwater project. Unfortunately, that was not funded, but I have hopes to bring that back again next year and continue to push for that worthy project. We were able to draw down into the budget $75,000 for pedestrian crosswalk improvements to the town square ADA crossing right over there at Ocean Avenue. That is in the budget. So now that's the main thing I'm working on for the city right now is advocating at the governor's office and at the policy departments to make sure that he doesn't line item veto that project out. It did happen last year. Going into the pandemic, everything was practically vetoed last year. So I'm hopeful this year with a worthy cause and with more emphasis on infrastructure that we're able to survive that line item veto idea. Diving into some of the bills, like I mentioned, vacation rentals failed. However, as a local government advocate now for many years that have worked on this issue, I will tell you, I did see kind of what I felt, my own personal opinion, kind of a slight paradigm shift. Normally it has been staunch defense from the city standpoint in terms of a full preemption. This year, there was an amendment filed to the Senate bill that the cities and the League of Cities and the counties actually supported. It basically moved the Senate bill back to a neutral position when it came to local preemption. So I think that is a great trend in the terms of this issue. And hopefully when the legislation comes back next year, it'll pick back up from that kind of starting point and go forward from there. Also, on a positive note, another bill that from a local government standpoint that I've seen for many, many years was legislation that would impact your ability to change the way you do legal notices. Right now, most of your legal notices all are required to go through the newspaper at a very high cost to the cities. It's probably a large several $100,000, if not larger, in your budget. The legislature passed a bill, HB 35, that gives you some different tools in your toolbox that you can do certain notices online, certain notices through a website. Making sure that you notice them properly. So again, that would be a bill that I would make sure your staff has updated on so they know exactly the new policies going forward. Also of note, I think to local governments, affordable housing. We hear quite often regarding the Sadowski funds, don't sweep, don't sweep. The legislature got creative this year. They kind of changed the way, it's not a sweep anymore. They just changed the way the Sadowski funds are actually prioritized or earmarked, if you will. So I think it's always important, again, to dive into that topic. While the legislature did change, and basically before dock stamps were all 100% dedicated or supposed to go to affordable housing, they changed that priority to affordable housing and some environmental projects. But most notably, they'll still put millions and millions of dollars into affordable housing. In fact, this year, I think it was about 60 or $80 million more by the end. So as much as you're going to read the headlines that the legislature is changing the way they're doing affordable housing, they are. I'm a glasses half full kind of guy, and I would say, how much money is there still involved? And so if you're still looking for funds for affordable housing, there are still millions and millions of dollars there to be used for that. Same thing with impact fees, an issue that I know you hear about quite often. It was in the newspaper actually today, in the front page of the Palm Beach Post, and they highlighted this bill. It does change the way you can raise your impact fees. Before, you had the ability to raise them at your discretion. Now it's capped to only 25% over a 2-year period. However, there is still even a way you could raise them more than that if you wanted to. Just some extra steps involved. You have to do a study and various other things. So again, another example of, please take a deeper dive into the legislation. Don't get caught up in just what the headlines might say and say, okay, we're not happy with the way the legislation might have gone. We're not happy that it passed. At the same time, there's a way we can work with this and still accomplish the needs of the city of Boynton Beach. Also in that same topic, home-based businesses. Again, Tallahassee did pass legislation that changes the way you can regulate home-based businesses, but there are a lot of safeguards in place that give you the ability to still regulate what activities are taking place in a residential versus commercial atmosphere. The last topic on that, same last thing, is also building design regulations. That was another bill a lot of people got a lot of attention on. Whether you could put for one story or single family restrictions on building designs. They did pass legislation that preempts your ability to do that. However, there are a lot of ways that you could cover your discretion and still put your own ordinances into place. One of them is as simply as having an architecture review board. So there are different ways to get around it. Dive into the bills. Don't just read what's on the preemption list and think you don't have that tool in your toolbox anymore. Lastly, like I said, I wish I could tell you we're going to take a year off and say I'll see you next year. Unfortunately, this is really the first of the end of the first half. The next legislative session is what we call early. It actually starts in January, and of course the pre-legislative committee weeks start before that. I joke like these are preseason football games. They mean nothing and they mean everything. They're going to start in September. So the very first committee week will be September 20th. Then there'll be 2 weeks in October, 3 in November, ending on December 3rd. Legislature will take a little break for the holidays around late December. The next session starts January 11th. So from where we stand today, a year from now, the other session will have concluded by already 2 months. So it's not a year off. It's simply a few month break. And also most notably, there's no election, as you guys know, probably between now and the next session starting. So there's no ramp up time. We know who the leadership will be. We know who the committee chairs will be. Your delegation members, barring unless they change or resign early, will be the same members representing you. And even though every bill has to start back over again, you're very much going to see a lot of the same ideas that maybe didn't get across the line are going to get filed again and pick up with little extra head of steam than they had this year. So with that said, I would say I'm going to stay active with your staff as all summer, as I often do. We'll be meeting with them to discuss possible appropriation items or any legislative issues you may have, any local bill you may need to do. I would encourage you to meet with staff or also discuss with me any ideas you may have. I would encourage you to have your ideas or agendas ready to go probably by September at the latest, so that we're able to hit the ground running in October, November, December. And with that, I'll answer any questions.
Yes, Commissioner Pensurga.
Thank you for that presentation, Matt. Regarding appropriations projects, are you noticing any trends as to which kind of projects are more likely to be funded? How can we be more successful in getting our projects funded?
I always joke, I'm a big sports fan if you can't tell, so all my metaphors are sports related. appropriation requests are like baseball. You got to take your swings at the plate, and if you go 3 for 10 or 4 for 10, you're in the Hall of Fame. So really, I think good appropriation items, especially from a local government standpoint, are always infrastructure related. You should always be looking for some, money for parks, money for stormwater. The state, in general, always likes to fund projects, one, that are going to withstand the beyond the budget cycle, as opposed to programming money where they spend it once and it's done. The state would rather invest in something that can be around then for you to sustain. Also, what is the statewide impact for this? Why should taxpayers from Pensacola be sending some taxpayer dollars to Boynton Beach? What is the statewide impact of this, as opposed to why is it just important to Boynton Beach? So keeping those things in mind, I do like the projects we've pushed already, the pedestrian crosswalk and in terms of transportation and infrastructure ideas, and also stormwater projects. Anything water related is always a great example, because as you guys know, any water issue is not restricted to just to Boynton Beach. The water is either coming from somewhere else or leaving Boynton Beach and going someplace else. So anything water related is usually a great project from there. And lastly, if it's not a priority to you, it's not a priority to Tallahassee. So if there's no local matching funds to go with it, if it's not a priority for the city of Boynton Beach, very easily in Tallahassee, you could say, well, I know it's a great project, but obviously they're not putting it forward in that manner. So keeping those things in mind, I'd go from there. And then with that said, it's baseball. You're not going to get a home run. So go up there knowing it might take 2, 3, 4 years, but keep swinging at the plate every single time and eventually get that hit.
All right, well, thank you for that.
So the two questions I have was the combating public disorder bill. There's a lot of things in that affects municipalities. Is there, and then the other one was the voting rights bill that also passed. What effect is it going to have on us when I think they're both valid right now, or they start July 1st. What does that mean for our upcoming election and upcoming budget? And if there's currently a lawsuit against these new bills in federal court, how does that affect us?
So you will know, Mr. Mayor, since
Yeah.
we've known each other quite a long time, and that I will never give you legal advice or as to what a bill does. I can simply tell you how it passed or what it did. I would defer to your legal counsel and to your staff to look into each bill to find out how it actually impacts your ordinances. From an HB1 standpoint, the law and order legislation, the most notable one from my standpoint, that in my memory, that impacted local government was the ability for outside groups, individuals, parties to challenge your budget appropriation items for law enforcement. So I would definitely look into that. And basically, the bill says if there is a mechanism, if your law enforcement budget is decreased, there is a mechanism for them to say you're defunding police, and therefore there's a recourse in place. Basically, they can petition to a commission in Tallahassee. It's actually not unlike, as it was explained to me, what goes on currently with a county sheriff and a county commission. If a county sheriff, an elected official, thinks his county commission is not funding his office in the appropriate way, there isn't or her way, they have a recourse to go to Tallahassee and have a commission standpoint from that way. This is basically the same procedure. So from that standpoint, I think, and again, and that's when it comes to just the policies of how a local government is run. When it comes to actual your law enforcement ordinances and what they do regarding disorderly conduct or public safety, that I would definitely defer to your legal counsel in terms of how that changes your law enforcement practices. With the election bill, the exact same thing. I would say it mostly falls on clerks of courts and supervisors of elections, not local governments, on the new procedures. But I would educate yourselves on to the new procedures. A lot of it is regarding vote by mail and when your ballots need to be requested and things like that. I don't recall any change to the way an actual city runs an election. It's simply more of how an elector votes.
So it's something that our city, because we have elections next March, to make sure when any resident who wants to mail in ballot needs to get it in by a certain amount of time, so that they're getting it in enough time to mail it back in.
Yes, I would definitely think there could definitely be a need for cities to re-educate their their citizens on any new election procedures or ballot requesting procedures.
Okay.
But you are right. Both bills have been signed. Both have their effective dates are July 1 to my knowledge. But at least the election law, I think, is the only one being challenged right now legally in courts. But I would go forward with your education process rather than wait for a court verdict.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else from the commission? No. It's weird having them all here. I can look. All right,
Well, thanks.
thank you.
It's been great seeing you guys as well. And also, I should say, this is my first time in the new facility. So as a longtime consultant to the city of Boynton Beach, from the old city hall to your temporary location to now, the new setting fits you well. And it's an exciting place. It's always been an exciting place to work with Boynton Beach. And as a resident just up the road, congratulations on all your success here.
Thank you.
Mayor.
Yes.
This is not for Matt. This is simply just kind of putting it out there. I just wanted to, I guess, put out there for general conversation, and this is perhaps maybe a direction to city staff if the commission would be willing to simply just get a report. I remember we've always had this in the past. I don't know if it's because of COVID or because of other things, but we have had Commissioner Casello come to provide a legislative update. We have had Senator Lori Berman, but we do have other state representatives that represent our city, and we have not seen them. I'm not sure if they've emailed anything to us, but as representatives of our community, I think it is important to have them also give us their updates on what they've been doing to serve our residents here in the city of Boynton Beach. So I simply just wanted to bring that up as a topic of conversation, nothing to really do anything about tonight, but just to say if perhaps we can make a request to our other state representatives who represent us to send some type of legislative update to our commission for the benefit of our residents.
Absolutely. I don't know if we requested from the state reps to come or they came voluntarily, but yeah.
I think I assume they came voluntarily in the past, but I don't know what's going on. I feel like we've only had just a few come this time, so I'd like to maybe request them to.
If you have the contact, or I'll make sure that we contact their representatives so that they know that they're always welcome here at our city commission meetings.
And perhaps we can have city staff give them an invitation as well.
Okay. Our next announcement is the Pathways to Prosperity, Inc. Bridges at Boynton Beach will host their annual back to school supply drive and giveaway on Saturday, July 31st at the Ezel Hester Center. Kimberly Bush and Andre Thaddeus will provide details about the event.
Good evening.
Evening.
Really excited to be here tonight. Like the previous gentleman, this is my first time in here. It is fabulous. Just looking at everything that the city has been doing, it is just remarkable to look at the transformation that has happened here in Boynton Beach. So kudos to each of you. We are here tonight to talk about our annual back to school event. This year, we're partnering with the city and some other partners in the community so that we can expand our reach and reach more children within the city of Boynton Beach. So we're going to be holding the event at Ezel Hester. I have Andre with me, who is our outreach coordinator, who will give you all details and tell you how you can join us and make this the best back to school event ever. Andre?
Well, thank you. Hello, everybody. Thank you for the invite. I would like to thank Lori, the city manager. She and her staff have been working really hard to get us on the schedule, to really support us, as well as Casey Young from the Parks and Rec Department. So I definitely want to thank them. So as Ms. Bush has stated, we're going to be July 31st at the Ezel Hester Center. It will be from 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. And just a reminder for everybody, including the community, it will be 17 months that the school district will be totally brick and mortar for all of our students. Our event, we're going to prioritize our students from Boynton Beach, from the elementary schools to the high schools. So it would be a pre-registered event for our students, definitely for all of our feeder schools here at Boynton Beach, in conjunction with the city Parks and Recs and the students that attend our child care facilities facilities right here in the heart of Boynton Beach. So that would definitely be a priority that we want everyone to know that. Secondly, Lori has approved and allowed us to have donation boxes to be placed in a variety of locations in the city, including City Hall, the library, the police department, the fire station on High Ridge, the Ezel Hester Center, Carolyn Sims Center, as well as the Schoolhouse Museum. So we'll start upcoming Monday. We're gonna have boxes decorated and they will be placed in those facilities as I stated. And we'll kind of like check every now and again to kind of like make sure they're not overflowing. So we'll kind of keep them managed ourselves. And also the list of items that were requested has been sent to the city. So we definitely appreciate that. So what we're looking for now is like the community, the commissioners, the mayor, to make sure on your date, if you can put that July 31st on your date, on your calendar, so that we can all be out. We'll have great shirts for you. And we can really, and if we didn't mention, this will be virtual. It will be car. So they will stay in their cars. We'll have the backpacks, also school uniforms already packed together, listed, and we will have them drive through. Right now, we are looking for vendors to have tables, especially information that's pertinent to the city of Boynton Beach and maybe the parents and students that may need information, whether it be vaccinations, back to school information, tutoring, and any type of advocacy to kind of navigate themselves, you know, again, back on campus. So those are the vendors we'll be looking for, and also childcare referral services would be needed as well. So do we have any questions from anyone?
So very excited. I think it's trying to reach out to the business community. Do you have contacts with the business community?
We have some, we've started that process.
Okay.
We've sent out the initial email, save the date, and we are now in the process of receiving information. How can I get involved? What can we do? And we're just in the early stages of that right now.
Okay.
And we're looking for shoes. We want to give all the kids shoes this year. We want to make sure that they're all able to go back with a new pair of sneakers.
Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I don't have a question, but just a comment. You guys are really doing an outstanding job here in the city. Prosperity, pathway to prosperity. And I just want to commend you. You're really an asset to the city. I understand that you've relocated. Would you share with the audience your new location?
Okay, our new location is 639 East Ocean Avenue. That's 639 East Ocean Avenue, and we're in Suite 101. So please feel free to stop by. We're going to be doing a soft opening real soon so we can have people come by. But right now, we really have not been receiving the public. It's just staff coming in a hybrid manner right now, just until we're sure everything is safe. But we're excited about our new location and about the work that we're doing, the new partnerships we're forming, and the opportunities that are there for us. So thank you.
Very good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
If you can you please share your email so that I can get some groups in touch with you?
Yes, it's office at P as in Paul, the number 2, P as in Paul, P as in Paul, B as in boy, C as in Charlie.org. So that's office at p2ppbc.org.
Pathways to Prosperity, Palm Beach County.
That is correct.
All right.
You lost me with all the letters and I was like Alpha Charlie Bravo or something. Oh, thank you.
Our next announcement is the Florida Division of Blind Services nominated the city of Boynton Beach as an exemplary employer in Palm Beach County. The city will be recognized at the Florida Rehabilitation Council for the Blind's quarterly meeting on Thursday, May 27th.
Good evening, Mayor and Commissioners. Debbie Majors, Grants and ADA Coordinator. I'm here this evening with Ted Goodenough, my assistant, and his guide dog Rosie. And this recognition from the Florida Division of Blind Services and the Florida Rehabilitation Council for the Blind is really a reflection on your commitment to the Americans with Disabilities Act, to the city manager, Lori Laveria, and Julie Oldberry, our HR director, and their whole staff, their commitment to inclusion and accessibility in the workplace. It's an honor, and I'm always so proud when I hear that Boynton Beach is getting recognized for something like this. There are many cities throughout the state of Florida, and we were the only municipality to receive this recognition. So this is significant. Ted started working with us in 2019 through a work experience program through the Florida Division of Blind Services. It was a 12-week program, and he had just graduated from the Lighthouse for the Blind of the Palm Beaches and their job readiness program. And since Ted's been here, you have experienced things like Tuesdays with Ted. You get an email that is our little way and Ted's way of educating employees through the pandemic. It's little bits of information on different topics each week. And Ted's also working with our Inclusion Works business program to help educate our businesses and support them in their inclusion and accessibility, and also with a student intern program at South Tech Academy. So there's a lot of changes that have been made. Our IT support has been incredible throughout. When Ted says yes. I'm going to let him speak because this is really about his employment at the city and what it means to be an exceptional employer. I'll leave it.
All right. It's really not about me. It's about the city. It's about the fact that the inclusive city of Boynton Beach gives me a purpose every day. I have meaning in my life because I get to come to work. The city of Boynton Beach allows me to help people learn about the Americans with Disabilities Act and inclusion. And I'm proud to get up in the morning and put on now I get to put on street clothes and come to work. Don't want to know what I wore at home. But yeah, I'm just proud of this city and what it does. And I brag on it all the time. I'm the leader of a guide dog handlers group. We have about 16 teams. And because of the inclusion here, we're actually trying to go places in the city, like On Street Ale and Coffee. We'll be there on the 12th. But again, it's not about me. It's about the city of Boynton Beach. And I thank you for your time.
Congratulations. Our next is the presentation of the 22nd Annual Bob Barovi Student Citizen of the Year Award by members of the Education and Youth Advisory Board.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, and the commissioners. My name is Dr. Valerie Valcourt. I'm representing the Education Youth Council of Boynton Beach. The Bob Barovi Student Citizen of the Year Award was created in 2000 to recognize a graduating high school senior who best epitomizes the spirit of volunteerism and giving to the community, exemplified by the late Bob Barovi, a U.S. veteran and former advisory board member who is an active member of the Boynton Beach community. High school seniors write an essay on what they have learned from performing volunteer community service and provide 3 letters of recommendation. The winner must be of good moral character, perform significant volunteer work, and made positive contributions to his or her community. The award is funded through donations secured by the Education and Youth Advisory Board, and the winner is selected by a panel of judges, including last year's winner. Thank you to this year's judges, Dr. Jatan Shannon of the School District of Palm Beach County, Dr. Abel St. Amour, and Ashley Backus, last year's recipient. Since the inception of the award, the city of Boynton Beach has distributed $28,250 in awards to 48 high school seniors. This year's recipient of the 22nd Annual Bob Barovi Student Citizen of the Year, who will receive $1,000 and have her name placed on the permanent plaque, is Benchetta Bazio. Please forgive me if I mispronounced that. Benchetta graduated near the top of her class from the Ivy program at Atlantic Community High School and performed over 250 hours of community service.
Described by one of her teachers as one of the most committed and contentious students he's ever taught, Benchetta was a member of the medical academy throughout high school and is a certified emergency medical responder. Her community service includes mentoring with the Adventure Club, tutoring younger children for Tutor Academy, participated in the My Generation program at the Falk Center for Counseling, which brings teens and seniors together, and visiting patients in hospice through Vitus Healthcare. In her essay, she relayed a poignant story about getting to know an elderly woman there and where she learned from that experience. One of the main things I learned is that we can't control what happens in people's lives. All we can do is help them deal with it. Benchetta will attend Florida International University, majoring in biological sciences, and plans to become a pathologist. Congratulations, Benchetta. Is she here? I said her name correctly. Thank you.
Benchetta, would you like to say a few words?
Hello, council members. I wanted to say thank you for giving the opportunity to be the Bob Burlby Citizen of the Year Award. And I want to thank the city of Boynton and the people on the board for choosing me.
All right, our pleasure. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
just a thought, because I remember one of the conversations that we've had in the past regarding this board and this award that they present every year is that these dollars that are raised, they're not tax deductible, correct? Because they're not coming in directly to the city. Am I clear on that? Can you answer that? You're not sure. I would simply maybe just ask Lori or somebody from city staff to look into this, because I do believe that for whatever reason, the funds that come into this organization or into this board are not, I guess, directly given to the city, so they're not tax deductible. So if we could look into how we could make that possible to transfer these funds, that they can either be given directly to the city and then be redirected back to the student recipient. That way we can add the tax deductible aspect to it. I think it would allow for perhaps more monies to be able to be raised, to be able to give to these students in the future. So just wanted to bring that up because I do remember that that was an issue that we had in the past regarding this, and that could be something that could be a potential solution moving forward, and perhaps even increase these scholarship dollars for future students.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Romulus. I'll put that on for the future agenda before we end the meeting.
And congratulations.
Our next announcement by Boynton Beach City Library's Marketing and Outreach Manager, Madison Chioza, regarding weather and hurricane preparedness with the National Weather Service virtual program in partnership with the National Weather Service from the Miami South Florida Forecast Office on June 8, 2021 at 6 p.m. Madison, do you have any more information for us?
Madison is.
Yes, hello. Oh, thank you. Hello, Madison Chosa, Marketing Outreach Manager for the Boynton Beach City Library. Yes, so we are excited to have a program with the National Weather Service from the Miami South Florida Forecast Office on June 8th, 2021 at 6 p.m. as they discuss weather preparedness and hurricane awareness as hurricane season approaches. That will be a virtual program. You can register for it by visiting boyntonlibrary.org. There will be time for questions at the end, and an ASL interpreter will be provided for that program.
Thank you very much. And so will there be a recording? I think our commission is going to be on the CRA meeting at that time.
Yes, there will be a recording for it, which will be uploaded to the library's YouTube channel, and I believe as well the city's YouTube channel. So there will definitely be a recording available.
All right. Thank you so much.
Of course.
And I believe you have the next announcement for June 5th, 2021 as well.
Yes. Thank you for pulling up the program calendar. So yes, once again, Madison Chosa, Marketing Outreach Manager for the Boynton Beach City Library. So our summer reading initiative, Better Together, starts on June 5th, this Saturday, with a kickoff party from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. outside Boynton Beach City Hall. Children 5 to 12 years old and teens 13 to 17 years old can register for summer reading, play fun lawn games, make crafts, and receive a free Kona ice treat. This event will be held outdoors in Centennial Park next to City Hall. Everyone who registers for summer reading and tracks the books they read from June 5th to August 5th can win prizes. Participants can stop by the Youth Services Library, located on the first floor of City Hall, now through August 4th at 7 p.m. to sign up and pick up a book log. For more information and to see all summer reading programs, visit bit.ly/bbclsummer21 or just boyntonlibrary.org. And what you see up on the screen is our list of summer reading programs for youth and teens. And then we also have outdoor story time available for infants to 4 years old. And that's it for summer reading.
Thank you.
Of course.
Our next announcement is by Eleanor Crisell, Communications and Marketing Director, regarding the ribbon cutting for the Pride intersection on Northeast 1st Street and Ocean Avenue on June 7th at 5:30 p.m.
Okay, wonderful. Eleanor Crisell, Marketing and Events Director, and I'm pleased to announce that we're having on Monday, June 7th, the City of Boynton Beach will be celebrating Pride Month with a ribbon cutting of its new Pride intersection at the intersection of East Ocean Avenue and 1st Street. The ribbon cutting will begin at 5:30 p.m. and last approximately 1 hour. The public is invited to attend. The Palm Beach County Human Rights Coalition created a Facebook event that is shared on the City of Boynton Beach and Art in Public Places Facebook pages. Please follow those pages for additional details or visit boynton-beach.org/pride. Thank you.
Next announcement is of D-Day Midway Remembrance and Flag Day being hosted by Boynton Beach Veterans Task Force in June. Do we have someone presenting this information? I see Jim Cizik. I'm going to unmute him. Jim, you're currently self-muted. Jim, you there? No, we're not getting any audio from your microphone. All right. And then do we have someone, Parks and Rec, Casey, do you have any of the information?
Muted.
Hi, Casey?
Yes, yes. Good evening, Mayor,
Good evening.
Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Yeah, I can give the information on the upcoming Boynton Veterans Task Force events coming up for the month of June. In the month of June, the Veterans Task Force is hosting 2 events at Tom Kaiser USN Boynton Beach Veterans Memorial Park. The first event is D-Day Battle of Midway Remembrance Ceremony on June 6th. That ceremony starts at 2 p.m. The second event is Flag Day on June 13th. That event starts at noon. Both events will be at the Boynton Beach Veterans Memorial Park. Both events also will follow all CDC guidelines.
Thank you very much. Our next announcement is for fiscal year 2021-2022 budget workshops are scheduled to be held July 12th to the 14th, 2021 in the police station's community room, 2100 High Ridge Road. They'll begin Monday, July 12th, 2021 at 5:30 p.m., followed by Tuesday, July 13th at 10 a.m., and if needed, July 14th at 2 p.m. The commission adopts a preliminary fire assessment rate resolution and a tentative millage rate resolution at these workshops. Next, we will proclaim Friday, June 4th, 2021 as National Gun Violence Awareness Day. Winna Dunmeyer of Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America will accept the proclamation. Whereas, City of Boynton Beach proclamation. Whereas every day more than 100 Americans are killed by gun violence, alongside more than 230 who are shot and wounded. And on average, there are more than 13,000 gun homicides every year. Americans are 25 times more likely to die by gun homicide than people in other high-income countries. And whereas Florida has 2,752 gun deaths every year, with a rate of 12 deaths per 100,000 people. Florida has the 27th highest rate of gun deaths in the United States. Cities across the nation, including the city of Boynton Beach, are working to end the senseless violence with evidence-based solutions. And whereas support for the Second Amendment rights of law-abiding citizens goes hand in hand with keeping guns away from people who are with dangerous histories. Mayors and law enforcement officers know their communities best, are the most familiar with local criminal activity and how to address it, and are positioned to understand how to keep their citizens safe. And whereas gun violence prevention is more important than ever as the COVID-19 pandemic continues to exacerbate gun violence after more than a year of increased gun sales, increased calls to suicide and domestic violence hotlines, and increase in city gun violence. And whereas in January 2013, Hadia Pendleton was tragically shot and killed at age 15, and on June 4th, 2021, to recognize her 24th birthday, people across the United States will recognize National Gun Violence Awareness Day and wear orange in tribute. And whereas the idea was inspired by a group of Hadia's friends who asked their classmates to commemorate her life by wearing orange. They chose the color because hunters wear an orange to announce themselves to other hunters when out in the woods, and orange is a color that symbolizes the value of human life. And whereas by wearing orange on June 4th, 2021, Americans will raise awareness about gun violence and honor the lives of gun violence victims and survivors. We renew our commitment to reduce gun violence and pledge to do all we can to keep firearms out of the wrong hands and encourage responsible gun ownership to help keep our children safe. Now, therefore, I, Stephen B. Grant, Mayor of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, do hereby proclaim the 4th day of June, 2021 as National Gun Violence Awareness Day.
Thank you. My name's Winna Dunmeyer, and I'm a volunteer with Moms Demand Action. Moms Demand Action is a grassroots group of Americans working to end gun violence and find solutions to this terrible violence that seems to be uniquely American. We are so grateful to the city of Boynton. We said, can you do this? This is the 3rd year in a row, and immediately it was yes. So we're very grateful to the city. And we've added so many more over the past years. I think we're up to 12 different cities as well as the school board. So National Gun Violence Awareness Day, to me, is a little bit of a misnomer. We're dealing with gun violence every day. It's hard to miss it. The shootings in Miami, where on the 12th is 5 years since Pulse. We know all of these Memorial Days when these huge, terrible things happen, but there's also lives being taken every day. Last Christmas, we lost a young man named Matthew Murphy Jr. who was killed here in Boynton Beach. And so these are the people we need to remember every day. So National Gun Violence Awareness Day, I think it should be a day that we just decide we're not going to say numb to gun violence. We're going to address it. Instead of wringing our hands, we're going to work for these random children I picked up off the street, magically wearing orange. We need to do something.
We keep doing nothing, and it's becoming their issue now. Over 40,000 Americans are killed every year from guns. 2/3 of those from suicide. So there are some things we can do, and we need to have the courage to do them. Unfortunately, the state makes it very difficult for you guys to legislate that in any way. But there are creative solutions we can address. There's a wonderful tool by Everytown called citygrip.org, where you can input the demographics of the city of Boynton Beach and it will pop out non-legislative solutions to gun violence. Violence interruption programs addressing gun violence is a public health issue. There's a program called Cure Violence. There's so many things that we can do. We just need the courage to do them. So thank you very much again, and wear orange Friday. Thank you, Christina. Thank you.
Our next proclamation is the week of June 5th, 2021 as National Garden Week. Co-presidents Tony Savetko and Lori Wolf and members of the Boynton Beach Garden Club will be present to accept the proclamation. City of Boynton Beach Proclamation. Whereas gardeners have a passion for nurturing the beauty and resources of the earth through the planting of seeds, the care of all plants, and the riches of their efforts. And whereas gardeners seek to add beauty, splendor, fragrance, and nutrition to our lives through the growing of herbs, vegetables, foliage, and flowers, and work to preserve our country's traditional spirit of independence and initiative through innovation and hard work. And whereas gardeners advocate the importance of all creatures, large and small, that share our world and their roles in a balanced and productive ecology. And whereas gardening furnishes a challenging and productive activity for our citizens, for those just learning as well as those having years of experience, and gardening promotes a healthy lifestyle that lasts a lifetime, helps reduce stress from other areas of our life, teaches that rewards can come from diligent efforts. And whereas gardening enables members of garden clubs across the nation and the world to make a world of difference in the communities where they reside and work. Now therefore, I, Stephen B. Grant, by virtue and the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Boynton Beach, do hereby proclaim June 5th to the 12th, 2021 as National Garden Week. And so they've asked me to say that on June 5th from 10 o'clock to 1 p.m. at the corner of Northwest 6th Avenue and Seacrest, where the Boynton Beach Garden Club has their city garden, they'll be handing out free plants to the people stopping by. So I want to hopefully see everyone there early in the morning in Barton Park to help plant some trees, and then come by the city's garden park to pick up some plants. Thank you very much.
You and Mayor, I'd like to also thank the ladies for being at our Earth Day event as well. You guys were a fantastic addition. Thank you for everything.
Seeing no further announcements, we will move on to public audience. Individual speakers will be limited to 3-minute presentations. Please state your address and please state your name and address before you begin.
This is George Feldman. I live at 9778 Nichols Boulevard, Boynton Beach, Florida. Resident since 1996. I've served on 2 boards and a committee, and I've been with volunteering for the last 12 years. I'm currently on the library board, and I'm past chairman. We wanted to, first of all, thank you for a beautiful library. Everybody comments on it. I bring people by to show them around. This is the first opportunity we've had to really volunteer and try to help the library and the city show their profile as being a top-notch organization. This I'm going to ask you to please look into. a couple of things, and this was brought up at our meetings. And if you could report back to our director, Craig, and let us know how you feel about it, we would appreciate it. While I'm bringing people by to look at the library, there's nothing that says we have a library inside. When you drive by in your car, you don't know where the library is. You can invite people there, but they don't know where to park. There says City Hall on the northeast entrance, but doesn't show that there's a library above. It has a book drop, but it has no sign that says, how do you get into the library? When you enter the premises, you look around for where is the library. There's no sign that says the library is upstairs. Now that we're volunteering, we're out and about in the community, we would like to have you help us so that when they arrive here without us, they know where to go. And the people that are new in the community can drive by and say, oh, you have a library. Wow, this is great. And we'll eventually, I'm sure we'll bring other people from other communities to use our library, which is what we want. I want to thank you for a beautiful job you guys did. We've been waiting patiently. I've been serving on the board and doing it virtually and not, and I appreciate everything you guys do. Have a good evening.
Thank you, George. And I do see that on our elevators, they put a little tab that says Boynton Beach Library. So it's something that we'll work on to make sure that all of our signs are ADA accessible. And one of the good things that we do have in the city is that we have our greeters on the first floor as soon as you get in. So we'll make sure that we'll make it easier for people to find the library, the innovation space, and all the other activities in cafe once we get the cafe. So we're still working in buildings. So thank you for all of your dedication to the city.
And thank you very much. I'm sure it was overlooked. And I'm sure if you need more money that we can go out and solicit more money for the city to help us with signage.
We appreciate that offer and accept.
Mayor? Mayor?
Yes.
George, before you leave, I really thank you for bringing these to our attention. But I would like to say that I've had, unfortunately, several people mention to me those same items. And as we speak, I believe our assistant city manager is working on many of these items already. I don't know if he's prepared to say anything right now, Andrew Mack, but I spoke to him about this as early as this afternoon, and he is working to try to resolve many of those issues because it is a challenge.
Thank you. I'll sleep good tonight.
Okay.
Just to answer that, thank you, Vice Mayor Hay. Yes, we are working on a wayfinding package that's going to go around City Hall. One of the reasons we didn't roll this out immediately was, one, we wanted to get in the building to get a feel for access around the building, and two, because the delay in the private development in our garages, we knew the wayfinding was going to change. So we are in the process of implementing an interim wayfinding package, and that should roll out in the next month or two. We should be having plans approved and start installing. So I'll give Craig an update to give you guys an update by your next board meeting. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is Sandra Raffaelli, and I am the CEO and founder of Azul for Better Living. I think you guys know us well now. We are an organization empowering adults with developmental disabilities using fashion, art, and design. Our organization is located at 2635 Old Okeechobee, West Palm Beach. Last month, I was here because I was promoting our clothing drive to support the economic development of adults with disabilities. Today, I'm here to congratulate you and express all my gratitude because the amount of donations that we receive at this location is remarkable. All the clothing that we receive will go to our fashion design programs and will go to support the business in fashion of adults like Kiara, who is also a resident of the city of Boynton Beach. So Kiara, please tell me, when did you start your business?
Yeah, I started my business, Flourish, back in September 2020 when I completed the Follow the Thread fashion program that is offered by Azul.
Great. And what does your business do?
Yeah, Flourish specializes in recreating clothing for women.
Okay. And what kind of clothes do you use?
Yeah, the type of clothing that I recreate are skirts, shirts, dresses, and shorts.
Great. So that was all that you donated, your residents and employees. Thank you so much. All these donations are supporting their business, and now they can have hope and keep growing. I also want to share, Mayor Grant, that Benjamin took a lot of pride redesigning some of the shirts that he knew they were yours. So thank you so much. And if you also, like whenever you make donations, you put in there your card, that we also know, and that we'll get back to you, letting you know what you would do with the clothes that you donated. I also want to share that this Saturday, June 5th, we'll be having a volunteer morning where we're gonna be sorting out different clothes so we can give it to our creatives, and then they have the right clothes to design. So thank you so much to the city of Boynton Beach for the great support, and I'm looking forward to collaborate again with you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, and if you would like to learn more information about Flourish, yes, please look for it on Facebook at Flourish by Kiara Simone. Yeah, my name is spelled Chiara, and my middle name is Simone, Simone.
All right, thank you so much, Kira.
Bye. Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Jackie Mataragas, 2620 Northeast First Court, Boynton Beach. I would like to thank Commissioner Hay, which is now Vice Mayor Hay as of tonight. However, we asked him to come to our complex because we were having a public safety problem. However, he also brought Gary Dunmeyer of Public Works in reference to our public safety in VRG complex. They gave us a lot of educational information and a lot of things to think about, and some things that people didn't want that have changed within the view of the public works and safety. So it was our pleasure to have them both there, and we want to thank them very much. And I would be remiss if I didn't just thank Vice Mayor Hay now for helping me through this past year on Zoom, which in the beginning I knew not how to do at all, I must admit, and helped me with knowledge of the meetings for Boynton Beach, which I have to report to our big meeting in VRG. And I see Andrew Mack is here tonight. I'd also like to thank him. In 2019, I spoke to him many times on the telephone in reference to streetlights out, which took several months for FPL to get their ducks in a row, let's say. And I would also like to say, never faltering, Woodrow Hay. ASAP, he called me back immediately or answered the phone immediately. And thank you very much. It's so appreciated. And lastly, it is very a proud moment to walk into City Hall and library. Wow. I have to say a big wow. And thanking all involved, a job well done, extremely well done. And I'd also like to say, in reference to the gentleman who spoke about the library, I have had many people come to me and ask me that question. Thank you and good evening.
Thank you, Jackie.
John, is there anyone online that has raised their hand that I would also like to speak?
Yes, Mayor Grant, thank you. Victor, last name Gaud, G-A-U-D. I will unmute his microphone.
All right.
He also has posted a question.
Can you guys, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All righty, thank you. And my name is Victor God, and my address is 253 Lake Monterey Circle in Boynton Beach. I'm an Arts Center board member to the Boynton Beach Library Advisory Board. And first and foremost, I want to thank you all council members for your work towards moving Boynton Beach forward. And I think congratulations are in place for the vice mayor that has been appointed today. And we understand that the advisory board recommendation are up to the city commission to take in consideration, and currently the budget is very limited. However, we are here today to bring to your attention the importance of the library signage, and as George mentioned before, this will allow proper identification of the library premises and to help to bring more foot traffic to the beautiful facilities that have been built. And again, we highly encourage the assignment of funds toward this signage. And if you guys need any help to advocate for more funds for the Boynton Beach Library. Again, thank you for your time and for your hard work for the city.
Thank you, Victor. All right. Do we have anyone else in the public that would like to speak? Is there anyone else online that has a question or would want to raise their hand?
Mayor Grant, this is John McNally. I don't see anybody currently who has their hand raised or has posted a question.
Okay. I'll be now closing public audience and we will be moving on to administrative. Appoint eligible members of the community to serve in vacant positions on city advisory boards. We have one regular and one alternate available on the Art Advisory Board, 2 regular and 2 alternates on the Building Board of Adjustments and Appeals, 1 regular and 1 alternate on the Education and Youth Advisory Board, 1 regular and 1 alternate on the Historic Resources Preservation Board. We have 1 applicant for the Recreation and Parks. Commissioner Katz, you have the nomination.
Nominate Charles Cantor.
Second. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. We have 1 available for the Senior Advisory Board. Moving forward to consent agenda. Would someone like to pull any of the items for consent agenda?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Thank you. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Consent bids and purchases over 100,000.
Motion to approve.
Second. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. Moving on to public hearing. The City Commission will conduct these public hearings in its dual capacity as local planning agency and City Commission. Our first is ordinance number 21-016. Shana, may I please have a reading?
An ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 27, Advisory Boards and Committees, Section 27-2, providing for selection of the chair and vice chair of each board, amending Section 27-22 definitions to correct a scrivener's error, providing for conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date.
Is there any further comments on the ordinance? If not, may I have a motion to approve? Approve. Second. I have a motion second. Is there any discussion from the public? Is there any discussion from the board? Seeing none, may I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Stephen B. Grant,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Woodrow Hay,
Aye.
Commissioner Justin Katz,
Yes.
Commissioner Christina Romulus,
Aye.
Commissioner Typin Serga,
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Thank you. Next, we have a memorandum regarding rental procedures for city facilities, including facility rentals, pavilion rentals, athletic field rentals, and special event permits.
John, can you unmute Casey Young, please?
Yes, sir. Casey Young, you have been unmuted.
Good evening, Mayor, Vice Mayor, Commissioners. Casey Young, Recreation and Parks Director. I presented a memorandum describing our facilities for use, which include our facility rentals, our pavilion rentals, our athletic field rentals, and also our special event permits. Through the memo, it gives you a definition of what each facility is and what it offers and where they're located. Again, for our facility rental facilities, it includes our Arts and Cultural Center, Boynton Beach Women's Club, Ezo Hester Junior Center, Intercoastal Park Clubhouse, Boynton Beach Senior Center, and the Carolyn Sims Center. Our pavilion rentals include Berryfree Park, Ezo Hester, Intercoastal Park, JC Park, Meadows, Oceanfront Park, and Sarah Sims Park. The athletic fields include Galaxy Park, Ezo Hester Junior Park, Pence Park, and Wilson Park. So these are all the facilities that are available for exclusive use through our registration office. Any citizen can come in, contact us, check for availability, pay the fees for those facilities, and then also provide certificate of insurance, and then will be permitted to use of that facility during hours designated for those facilities. There are any questions?
Any questions from the commission? I guess my question maybe from your legal is that, does the city currently have any land development regulations prohibiting people from bringing their own grill to city parks? Because when I looked at the land development regulations, they said fireplaces. And so I do think we need to update the language. So, in addition, if the commission, I think we need to adjust the no amplified music to see up to today's time. So if someone has a Bluetooth speaker, that is something that is okay at parks and on the beach, because that's what most people are doing already. But I understand that anybody who wants to use outlet would need to get a special events permit or use a generator.
Mayor,
Yes.
could we ask, I guess, legal to come back with a definition for amplified sound? Because as far as I know, it does not prohibit a Bluetooth speaker. I know for a fact the county has a definition of amplified sound because I held a public event relative to my other position in the county a number of years ago, and I was kind of thoroughly briefed by the sheriff's office monitoring the event about amplified versus amplified sound. Maybe we just need to make sure we have a definition to differentiate, if we don't, from personal sound devices and amplified sound devices. Is that something that we could come back with? Mayor?
Yes. Vice Mayor.
In addition to
Can
what,
we also request whoever is not muted to mute their line?
in addition to what Commissioner Katz was saying, I do know that you can have some speakers that are pretty loud. I know of some UE speakers, and I think it goes by the decibels. How many decibels is measured within a certain area. So I think it goes further than just, portable, speakers that you might have on your phone. I think we need to consider the level of the sound. How many decibels does it put out as to what can and cannot be permitted? Because you got some pretty loud ones that compete with these large speakers.
And so that's kind of where you're dealing with a certain size lithium ion battery. It'd be one thing, as there, yeah, I understand. And then we should have a decibel matter, because I believe we do have that on our city streets, but we do not have that in our parks. And so I don't know if someone from staff is making these recommendations that we're trying to move forward with. I did mute Casey Young because I think he was going through some pages. But I think what we're requesting, if I'm not mistaken, please inform me, a better definition of amplified music, one who allows certain Bluetooth or battery operated speakers. However, the speakers cannot exceed at a decibel level that is not comfortable for a residential park. It's section 1655. It says use of fireplaces and picnic areas. I think we need to update that section to state grills, and that either we allow grills under a special events permit and we not allow grills when it's not a special event permit. And I don't know if there's anything else.
Mayor, this is Jim Sheriff. We do have a provision of the code that deals with sound and noise control, and you are correct. It is more of a property-oriented or street-oriented provision of the code that deals with the concept of plainly audible at a certain distance. We will work with staff and come back with some language that deals with that type of sound intrusion in public areas as well, playgrounds, parks, and the like. We'll work and return that kind of language with appropriate definitions to the commission for review.
Yeah. And so, Jim, is the legal currently looking at our Parks and Recs ordinances to make any changes?
Yeah, when we open that up to take a look at the sound issues, we'll deal with the issues regarding cooking devices, fireplaces, grills. We'll do a comprehensive review of that entire section of the code at the same time.
Very good. Yeah, because it looks like it's from 1958.
Thanks, Jim.
Thank you, Jim. And thank you, Casey, for giving us that information. I just got a call from the mayor of Boca regarding Scott Singer, and was asking how are we implementing our polystyrene ordinance. And I told him one of our ways is that we are trying to incentivize residents not to use polystyrene, or also known as styrofoam and confetti. And we offer a incentive to sign a no styrofoam pledge. He asked, well, how are you planning on enforcing it? And I said, well, we do have park rangers that go around, and that if they do see this, they can take a picture, and that when a person who is trying to get their deposit back from the reservation, we will have that evidence. However, it's like going 6 miles over the speed limit. You're not going to get caught every single time. However, it is something that we are doing to help change the culture so people are mindful of our natural environment. All right. Anything else on the Parks and Recs? And I think that's something we'll put for the future agenda with the date to be determined. So, monthly update on Town Square project by JKM Developers. For this item, I received an update or a request from Jane Smith from the Coastal Star that there was no backup documentation attached to the agenda. So, Andrew, I guess want to leave this.
Mayor Grant?
Yep.
Mayor Grant, this is John McNally. I do have a PowerPoint presentation for this item.
No.
No.
We received sorry, John, this is Andrew Mack. We did receive an email late in the afternoon request that we would not hear this item, that we would table it. So if we could just table this item and then we'll contact Mr. Markey. We did get an email with an update, but obviously we couldn't publish it at that point. So if we can just go ahead and table this item, and then we'll bring it back as a future item.
Motion table.
But discussion.
Second it as a.
Yeah, Commissioner Ramos, you wanted to have a comment before we vote on the table? And
Yes. At what time did we receive this presentation today?
No, the presentation is not from John Markey. It was from a different person. So the request came from John. We have an update. He provided us an update today. I believe it was today. We have received an email from the city attorney's office. So we're going to ask that you wait, and then the actual letter update did go to the commission, but we didn't get a chance to publish it. So we'd like to go ahead and table this, and then we'll do it published at the next meeting so that we can publish it with the backup.
And who asked for a delay, or where did that come from?
I'm asking for it so that we can have a chance to publish it. As the mayor was saying, we did not get it in time to publish it for the meeting.
I just wanted to clarify who.
I'm sorry, yes.
Where it came from, the request for delay or to push this back. Okay, thank you for the clarification.
so was that letter we received for the month of May?
Yes.
Okay. And they gave it to us in June.
Well, it's their monthly update, which it would go, at this point would be the June update.
Okay, thank you.
Mayor.
Yeah.
To answer the Commissioner Romulus's question, there was an email sent earlier this morning from our city manager from a phone call she received, which is the reason for the delay.
I received that. From what our assistant city manager said, I thought I heard something else. Okay.
Gotcha.
Thank you.
If anybody cares to read those letters, I have both of them here. Excuse me. One was at 10:55 and the other one was 10:41 morning.
Okay.
It was stating that.
All right. So I'll provide an update. Jack, that Jack Ware called this morning, advised he received a phone call from John Markey this morning stating he was no longer interested in selling the property. I conferred with Attorney Cheroff and have advised Jack Ware not to attend the commission meeting tonight. Just asked John how he was going to notify the city, and John said through the commission. We have not received any communication related to this matter. If you do, please forward to me and Jim. Thank you. And that was from the city manager in an email sent at 10:40 a.m. this morning. So that's the update.
Do we have a deadline that a report or an update has to be sent to us by within this agreement before the commission meeting proceeding, when the update's supposed to be given? Is there anything written about that?
In our development agreement, I believe there's language that requires them to submit a monthly update. Yes.
By when?
There's no deadlines per se. It says that they're to submit a monthly update.
So this being the first of the month for last month. It's possible, or is this for the upcoming month? And we didn't have one in May. So
I'm slightly bothered, but it's neither here nor there.
We'll republish this item at the next meeting with the proper backup.
Are we expecting this in the next meeting?
Yes.
We currently have a motion, I believe a second, to table this to our next meeting.
Right.
Is there any further discussion from the public? Seeing none. All those in favor state so by saying aye. Aye. All those opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously. We have put item 11A to future agenda, and Commissioner Pensurga, would you want to hear this at next meeting?
Yes, I'd rather first go to the BDB event, incorporate whatever lessons are learned from there, and have that conversation thereafter.
Okay. Moving on to legal, proposed resolution 21-054, approve the city's participation in the memorandum of understanding which establishes the allocation of settlement funds arising from the statewide opioid litigation.
A resolution of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, authorizing Boynton Beach to join with the state of Florida and other local governmental units as a participant in the Florida Memorandum of Understanding and formal agreements implementing a unified plan, authorizing the mayor to sign the documents and providing an effective date.
All right. I received a letter, I think it's with the Florida Attorney General.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That
sir.
is helping create a class action settlement. And according to, I believe, our city size, we're doing this to be included. We, as a city, did not hire a private attorney to help represent our interests. So we're just following under what the Florida Attorney General is.
That's correct.
Right?
Mayor,
Yes.
just for some clarification on this, from what I understand, the city of, if it's going by population size, am I can understand that Delray is getting more than we are, though?
Whatever it says on the breakdown would be the proposed allocation for each city. I just sort of pull it up for a second. And there, you see there's 3 different possibilities for what.
Under where, Shauna?
On page 4 of 5 of the attachment, the very last attachment for the agenda item.
Very small print.
And yes, you just got to zoom into 250%, and then you'll see. So Boynton Beach, 0.
I could read it better on my screen. The Boynton Beach number is $59,767. And the Delray Beach number is $68,610.
Right, and my question is simply just, how are these numbers being allocated? How are they being determined? Are they really based on population size? Because if so, that doesn't make sense.
We can look into that a little bit more and get back to you on the allocation. There's a calculation that they included in their explanation.
I do believe they had representation, and so, I do think Boynton Beach is not accurately receiving the amount of money in regards to the amount of money that the city spent treating overdoses.
And if that's the case, I'm not going to fight that. I just definitely want to make sure that what was the formula or whatever they used to determine how much and who gets what. So from what is currently being stated that it's based on population size, that just doesn't compute. So if it could just make more sense to me. I just wanted some clarification, but other than that, I'm not opposed to this in no way whatsoever.
And there's another backup, which is a letter that came from the Attorney General, and on page 4 of 7, it explains that there's a national prescription opiate MDL. It's a formula that they use that considers various factors, including the amount of opioids shipped to the county, the number of opioid deaths that occurred in the county, and the number of people who suffer opioid disorder in the county. And then based on that, then they make the allocations between the counties and the municipalities based on historical data for each municipality.
And I do think the fact that those other municipalities filed lawsuits, because given how much, I'm reading the last sentence into the question where it says, how are the funds allocated amongst the states? Given how much Florida's allocation percentage is above its population, the need in these settlements to maximize the number of states settling and the potential litigation risk in the absence of such an agreement, it would be our recommendation that cities and counties accept the interstate allocation. So if the city of Boynton Beach did file a lawsuit when it was able to, that is something that we could have received a higher allocation. Because of the need for settlements. All right. And do we have a motion to, did someone make a motion to approve? All right.
So moved.
Second.
All right. And so I did have a question for Shana or Jem, is that if we do not accept this, are we able to move forward with the lawsuit, or is?
No, Mayor. No, this is our opportunity to receive funds and our sole opportunity at this point.
Okay, thank you. So all those in favor state so by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passes unanimously.
Mayor, this item will come back to you, or the MOU will come back to the city for additional review. There may be some tweaking to it. If it is an unsubstantial modification, it probably won't come back to the city commission. But as your gatekeeper on those kinds of issues, if I think it's substantial, it will be returned to the city commission to see one more time.
All right, and now, is there any way that we can get better clarification on the allocation to
Yes,
the
sir.
Florida Attorney General? And do we have data of our costs and expenses of the opioid epidemic here?
That is something that I know the police department has and the fire department have been tracking for other purposes. So we should be able to get some data on those costs.
All right, thank you so much. Next, we have an approval request for a private attorney-client session of the City Commission to discuss pending litigation in the following case. Patrick McFadden versus City of Boynton Beach.
Yes, pursuant to section 286.011 subsection 8 Florida statutes, the city attorney is requesting a private attorney-client session of the City Commission to discuss pending litigation. The name of the case is Patrick McFadden, plaintiff, versus the City of Boynton Beach and Mark Sohn, defendants. United States District Court, Southern District of Florida, case number 920-81237-CVRS. In attendance will be City Attorney James Sheriff, Assistant City Attorney Gal Batesh, City Manager Lori Liberia, a court reporter, the mayor, and the City Commission. We will need approximately 45 minutes. And the mediation in this case is scheduled for June 18th. So we would like to request, if possible, prior to the meeting on June 15th, we could have the shade session if everyone is available at that time.
That's all right with me. Okay.
Are we talking 4:30 on June 15th?
Do you need the hour?
I think it would be prudent to set it for 4:30.
Okay, so no, because if you need an hour, let's set it for 4:15. So that gives us 15 minutes between the meeting,
Okay,
the closed door session, and the meeting.
whatever you think is best.
So 4:15 on June 15th. So it's not going to be as short as tonight's meeting.
Mhm.
All right. And now on to ordinance 21-018, first reading.
An ordinance of the City of Boynton Beach, Florida, amending Chapter 2, Section 2-1.2, Vice Mayor Appointment, providing for annual appointment or reappointment of new vice mayor for a one-year term, providing for repeal of laws in conflict, severability, codification, and an effective date.
May I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Yes.
I do want to make sure that there is language reflected in this ordinance that it would be possible for a vice mayor to serve 2 consecutive terms if the board were to reappoint that person for for whatever reason that would be necessary at that time. So I believe when I spoke to Jim that language was not in there. So I just wanted to make sure that was reflected. But it would have to be, it would be brought up as we've stated in terms of at this first meeting in April and approved by the board.
The language currently says any member of the city commission who has not previously served as vice mayor during his or her current term of office may be selected to serve as vice mayor.
Correct. And so I'm saying, I think that language restricts potentially
Correct.
being in the future. So I would like for that language to be adjusted.
All right, if there's a consensus of the commission on that point, the ordinance would be returned with additional strike-through language to deal with that issue, that it would say during their terms as opposed to during their current term.
So, the question is that, Jim, so if someone, do they have 2 current terms if they get reelected?
They have 2 consecutive terms, 2 consecutive 3-year terms. So if we just said, use the terminology during their terms on the commission, that would cover either a person that serves 1 term or 2 terms. They'd be eligible at any time during their collective terms.
If they haven't been vice mayor before.
If they haven't been vice mayor before. Yeah, that's if that were the only clause, the only term that we struck in there, that would be true.
Right.
But that would, if you think about what the commissioner just said, that means somebody who in their first term was the vice mayor and served 1 year, they could not be reappointed vice mayor because they're limited to 1 term. But that's an easy change to make if there's a consensus by the commission that the vice mayor can serve 2 consecutive terms or more for that matter, or if that's the concern of the commission.
For me, I'll you like first, but
First of all, I'd like to know what's your definition of a term? Because a term is 3 years.
Yeah, yes, vice mayor, a term is 3 years.
Okay, so are we talking about someone eligible for a whole term?
No.
Okay, then my position is this: we should. I like the way it is. Vice mayor serves for 1 year, and then it goes to the next one, whoever is nominated. But to say that vice mayor can be reelected for another year, and I think that's what I'm hearing. I can't go along with that. I think it's only fair, and I think it's problematic when we start re-electing vice mayors to serve multiple terms, because you're subject to favoritism in here. It's not that big of a deal. Just, well, being vice mayor is vice mayor, okay? But I think when you start allowing multiple years, it's problematic. I think we ought to just keep it like it is. You serve 1 year, you elect another one, and not the same one.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. My comment here is simply for cleaning up of the language, because that was the reason why I brought this whole thing up in the first place. The initial issue was that we weren't reappointing vice mayors every year, especially on off election years. So that problem is now being resolved as we put this ordinance forth. The proposal that I'm making is simply that in a year where, let's just say we have, for example, this upcoming year where 4 brand new commissioners are going to be coming up on the dais. If there is a situation where you need a vice mayor that perhaps needs some experience or whatever, there could be a possibility where if the board so chooses, they could have a vice mayor that was already a vice mayor be reappointed, who has served as a vice mayor within their 3-year term. So I hope I'm making sense in what I'm saying. I don't think it's that complicated. It's simply just allowing for, if the board chooses, and of course it would always be at the discretion of the board. If the board, whether it's this board or any future board, so chooses to have a vice mayor that has served and has an opportunity to, reselect another vice mayor, and they so choose to select someone who's already served, it wouldn't restrict them or bind them from being able to do that. That is simply the reflection in the language that I would like to see. That is all. Am I making sense?
So Jim, we're going to talk hypotheticals. So let's say in 2002, you have Commissioner 1 serve as the vice mayor, and then in 2024, that Commissioner 1 also gets elected to vice mayor. Is that currently allowed for them to serve on both twice in their one term of 3 years?
Under the current terminology, a member of the commission can serve as the vice mayor, and let's assume that for the sake of argument, they're reelected. They could serve once as vice mayor during their first 3-year term and once as vice mayor in their second 3-year term. But they cannot serve as vice mayor twice in their first term or twice in their second term.
Okay. I think that, what I'm looking, I'm the only one who hasn't been vice mayor, so.
Well, don't think you need that designation.
But I do think that, having the ability to give everyone an opportunity who is a commissioner is important. And that way someone who may not want it is actually can get it, because I think this is something that is a learning experience and it's part of being a commissioner. So I'm happy with the current language. And so, yes.
I support the proposal made by Commissioner Romulus. I think it allows for greater flexibility in those unusual situations. And so I'm going to stand by her on this and vote in favor of this proposal. It simply opens more possibilities.
All right. And Commissioner Katz, do you have any other comments or in regards to this final?
Not particularly. I get the need to put language to clean it up so that there's a reappointment every year, because that was the intention of what's in, I guess, the charter, because the elections used to be every year, so there was not an off year, as I understand it. I also get the point that Commissioner Vice Mayor Hay made, that it is supposed to transfer every year unless it was some sort of emergency where it needed to stay with someone. Because I thought that was the whole reason that this got brought up, because it wasn't going to transfer. So I don't know about allowing multiple years. I've seen, and granted it's a vice mayor title, but I've seen on the school board, for instance, the chair position and vice chair rotate every year, but in the past decade, only 2 of the members of the board of the school board have been chosen. So it has, in that case, I don't think it's a popularity contest, but it's a matter of, I guess, faith in their ability to be chairs. I've seen at the county commission level where they rotate the mayor, and in certain situations, favoritism has led to certain county commissioners basically being skipped for the county mayor position. So I do share some of those concerns that it could be used more subjectively than what it is right now, which is a symbolic transfer each year to allow each commissioner an opportunity to serve in that role. So I don't know how open I am to the multiple year thing, just because it could be used to kind of not punish, but if there's an unpopular commissioner, they might never get it. Whereas right now the current system favors transferring it each year symbolically. So I do share Commissioner Vice Mayor Hayes' sentiment that multiple years could be ripe for some form of abuse.
Right, so I believe that is what the current ordinance says. Any member of the city commission who has not previously served as vice mayor during his or her current term of office may be selected to serve as vice mayor, and current term only means 1 3-year term.
And I'll drop my proposal. That's fine. I think I can see that there's a majority in here.
All right. So did I get a motion?
Yes, you do.
All right, and we got a second
What is the motion?
to approve the ordinance as stated.
Yeah, okay, yes.
All right, and does anyone from the public have any comments on this? Seeing none? All right, may I have a roll call, please?
Hi, Mayor. Just wanted to confirm who made that motion and seconded.
Was myself who made the motion. I don't know who seconded it.
So a motion by Commissioner Romulus, a second by Vice Mayor Hay.
Thank you. Vice Mayor Hay,
Aye.
Commissioner Katz,
Yes.
Commissioner Romulus,
Yes.
Commissioner Pincirga,
Yes.
Mayor Grant.
Yes.
Vote is 5-0.
Thank you. So for future agenda items, to be determined, having the Bob Barovey Award tax deductible for our Education and Youth Advisory Board.
I'd also like to add something else.
Yes, you may.
I'd like an update from staff on how our e-permitting service rollout is going within our development department. And I'd like, this doesn't have to be done on a particular timetable, as I know that there might be some time to do this, but I'd like an audit to be done in terms of looking at a couple of permits that have been done in the past, maybe perhaps in the past few years, and now comparing it to permits that are being issued within the purview of the e-permitting service being here now, and seeing if we're getting any improvement in our service capabilities, because I think that was the entire purpose of bringing in that e-permitting software. So I'd like an audit to be done to see if we're making any improvements in that.
It's, Andrew, the e-permitting has been open for a week now.
Yes, they launched on May 26th, and to my knowledge right now, I do believe I have an update from Adam Temple. I believe he sent it out, but we'll definitely do a presentation. They'll love to bring it back and tout the success. We've had a very successful rollout to this point.
Okay, so like I said, it doesn't have to be right now, but I'd like in perhaps a couple of months to do some type of audit from before versus after putting in the e-permitting software.
Yeah, that'd be great.
So, whether it's a quarter worth of data before the e-permitting dealing with the pandemic versus a quarter after, I think, just to see where it was between, I guess, either January to May, and then from June to, let's say, September, October. Let's wait for October so you guys can get through budget before looking at all the permits.
Like I said, I don't want to put any more burden on you guys. You guys have a ton on your own shoulders, so whatever rollout or time frame works to be able to get that information back and show us a really strong set of data points from before and after. I would like to see that. Thank you.
Mayor,
Yes.
I'd like to get an update on the citywide Wi-Fi project. I'm wondering where we are on that.
It says budget workshops, you want it earlier than July?
Where is that?
13L.
No, that's fine.
No worries. And I did want the commission, I don't want to necessarily put it on future agenda. I just wanted you to think about, so this past year, we did not sell the land on Nichols Boulevard west of the Boynton Beach Mall. We do have other preserved land or park designated land in the city. And I want to know, what can we do to help preserve that type of land for green space, for parks, for our city? To see if you have any thoughts. I know that we're talking about how are we going to help fund the eco park. And so there's something where if we're not selling land to fund our other things, how are we going to raise money and preserve the tree canopy that we have? So I just wanted to make that comment, and hopefully we can come up with some sort of idea for the future. And if there's no further comments,
Mayor?
yes.
So I had an idea, and if the majority wants to ask staff to look into it. So Garlic Fest has kind of traveled temporarily from city to city throughout the past couple of years. For anyone familiar with that event that takes place, it used to be in Delray, and then it's been at John Prince Park, and it's been, I think, at Wellington. That's a bona fide event that doesn't seem to have a permanent home, and I would not be opposed if there was support to have staff look into whatever agreement they have right now, and if it was a multi-year agreement, or if they are looking for a potential new venue, or they don't have a contract, so they would be open to a potential new venue. I think the city has a couple of established events that we're used to, but with the new green space next to City Hall and things getting back to normal, I think we'll need a couple more to kind of flesh out an annual schedule. And I just think that that's a popular, tried and true event that if it's looking for a place to land for multiple years and establish itself again like it used to in Delray, I would not be opposed to trying to see what kind of agreement we could strike to bring that here, because it is just it's a jam-packed event every year that is a good economic generator. And while we might create some new events to add to our portfolio in the future, I think it wouldn't hurt to get something that's got legs already, and we could just easily insert into our annual calendar. So I don't know if there's others who would be interested in looking into that, to direct staff to reach out to the organizer of that event and find out if they've got any plans or if they're open to considering.
I met with the organizer last week, Nancy Stewart. I gave her a tour of all of the City Hall facilities, the library, the Arts and Cultural Center, and the amphitheater. They're definitely interested in it. They kind of take the summer off. And this is something that we still need to wait for staff to come up with us with the rates, whether we're able to do things like we did for the golf course and make things adjustable depending on the year, so that, having an event in January, February is different than July or August. What does the city charge depending on costs? But she was very happy. She was just thrilled to work with our police and fire department for the Affair of the Arts. And I think this is something that, we're going to have a lot of people trying to have events here. But we first need to come up with the pricing structure. And Andrew's going to say it's coming soon, right? Yes.
And parking.
And parking.
Parking is going to be a big deal.
Okay. And so we will need to figure that out. We saw on tonight's agenda, working with our partners, FH Quantum and Journey Church, to help with the shuttling of people for the 4th of July. So there is a lot of parking in the city. However, it may take a quick ride to get here. It's something that we're also hopefully using Palmtran, because you have the 73 bus, the 70 bus, and the number 1 bus, and quick ride to our downtown. And so it's almost in the sense, if we can partner with them to have a discount or give free rides, is something in lieu of parking because of the costs for shuttles. So it's something that we could definitely plan for in the future. I think the first step, though, is getting the rates. Yes.
I would definitely support looking into speaking with the Garlic Festival people, because I think that's a great event that could come here. And I think for me, my major concern is just parking, just where do we park all these people? I have some events in mind as well that I think would be phenomenal and would do fantastic here. While we're on the topic, I think of the Compa Festival that happens out in West Boca on an annual basis. They're bringing people from New York, from like all over the country, like coming together to celebrate the Haitian culture. And it didn't happen last year due to COVID. And I know they're also looking for a home on the east side here, and Boynton potentially would be an amazing venue for that. They're bringing thousands of people together every year. So, we've done our downtown with this intention that we can now attract awesome events and festivals like this. So, it's just a matter of putting the infrastructure in place to welcome these groups and organizations to our downtown area. So I'm excited about potentially partnering with Garlic Festival and Compa Festival and all of them.
Yeah, it's very exciting. We're still waiting to hear from Mavis and Young in regards to our innovation space, our cafes, both in City Hall and the Arts and Cultural Center. And so we're moving as fast as we can. But one of the things that I tell people is that we got to make sure that the water is running and the trash is picked up first before we can have any events. So we're working on it. And I think that's the big discussion that we'll have during the budget workshops is how do we figure out how to spend everything, how to, our anticipated revenue from events versus the expenditures that we need for police and fire, water, utility, sanitation, parks and recs, public works, and all the other aspects of city government. All right. All right. Well, seeing no further comments, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All right. Got a first and second. Thank you.
All right.
All right, everybody.
And let me jump in real quick. As a reminder, a recorded version of this session will be posted to the City of Boynton Beach's YouTube channel. Links to that channel are available on the City of Boynton Beach's website at boynton-beach.org. This concludes today's meeting. On behalf of Mayor Grant and all of our elected officials, the city manager and city staff, thank you for attending City of Boynton Beach's commission meeting. Be safe and have a great evening.
And